And we are back with our 2024 lead, and the battle for control of the U.S. Senate getting more interesting today as Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia announced that he is not running for re-election. So let's discuss with our panel. Eva McCann, starting with you. Look, you have a very popular Republican, Jim Justice, already running for Manchin's seat. It's likely, it's expected, right, that he's going to flip this seat. This is a big blow to Democrats.
It does seem that way, or Congressman Alex Mooney, who's also competing for the Republican nomination. Certainly Republicans are well positioned in West Virginia. Though if you speak to Democrats, they argue, and you know this being from the South, yes. Pam, being from Kentucky, that no state should completely be ceded, right? That there is a working class message for West Virginia voters, and you should not throw up your hands and give up here. But it's difficult in that state. Paula Jean Swearingen, she's from coal country. She ran a great campaign in 2018, got lots of attention. She ran again in 2020 and lost by 40 points to Shelley Moore Capito, who's currently representing West Virginia in the Senate. So it's not an easy environment for Democrats in that state.
Yeah, at the very least, it'll be a huge fight. And Manchin, Alice, was intentionally vague in that video he put out about running for president, right? That's the big question. He certainly, though, did not close the door.
No, he did not. And of course, we have the No Labels campaign that's out there, certainly laying the groundwork for a candidate just like Joe Manchin. But as you said, he did outline his plans for the future, really working to travel across the country, bring this country together in a more moderate, cohesive way. And certainly whether or not he's the head of that or just working for that movement, that's great. And to his credit, look, he has been a tremendous senator for people of West Virginia with a moderate voice, been a true public servant, not a self-servant. But I can tell you this, Republicans are excited about this announcement. Steve Daines, who is the head of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, said this afternoon, we like our odds in West Virginia. So that gives us the opportunity potentially not only to pick up West Virginia, there are two other key seats that are potential pickups for Republicans. That is Montana as well as Ohio. So if that were to be the case, then good news for Republicans and possibly regaining control in the Senate.
Okay, Pam, let's take it broader than just what's going on in the Senate and the idea of what this means for organizing as a political party in the modern era. Joe Manchin is a millionaire a couple of times over, which is very disconnected from the majority of people in West Virginia. And he is also an older white man. So if you're looking at the idea of appealing to a moderate audience that either Trump or Biden don't appeal to, Manchin checks a lot of the boxes that have been problematic for voters that are younger, that are more diverse. So it's not a guarantee that what he has to offer is something that American voters actually want in the presidency.
We're also learning about Jill Stein announcing the surprise presidential bid today. She is seeking the Green Party's 2024 nomination. And the question is always, what is this going to mean for Democrats and Republicans? What do you think, Eva?
Well, I think there is an appetite for her candidacy among the progressive left right now, who are very angry at President Biden, specifically for his foreign policy response right now in the Middle East, that they argue is not humanizing Palestinians enough. So it does make sense why Jill Stein sort of sees a pathway for at least for her to be in the conversation. But, you know, we have all covered politics in this country, and for a long time there has never been sort of any pathway for a third-party candidate. I suspect this year it will be no different.
Yeah, the pathway for third party is often being the spoiler candidate, right? RFK Jr. running as an independent is likely to pull voters away from Trump.
That's the question.
Right, and Jill Stein, where would she pull voters from? And is that in enough of a margin that at a time when black and brown voter enthusiasm is low, who does that hurt and in which states? You look at Florida, you look at North Carolina, looking at Michigan. That's what the 2024 candidates really have to map out.
And you look at the polls and how tight it is between Trump and Biden right now. You know, when you have a candidate like Jill Stein throwing their hat in the ring, how does that impact the math? I also want to ask you about your party in particular here, Alice, after the debate last night. Let's take a listen to some of the highlights.
We've become a party of losers at the end of the day.
Donald Trump's a lot different guy than he was in 2016. He said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. I'm sick of Republicans losing.
She made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Adult Biden. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy answer. Do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
All right.
First, like to say they're 5-inch heels, and I don't wear them unless you can run in them.
What is your reaction to what you saw?
Look, it's great to have a debate. It's great to have the candidates out there in contrast on the issues. But look, Vivek Ramaswamy did himself zero favors last night. His campaign after the debate said, we dropped bombs. He bombed with women. The insults he had were embarrassing. Look, this guy's out there on the stage so desperately wanting a big bro hug from Tucker Carlson, as well as Elon Musk and Joe Rogan. It was embarrassing. And all he did throughout the night, every single powerful woman in his eyesight, he attacked. Nikki Haley for wearing heels and supposedly being a bad mother because her daughter's on TikTok. Going after Ronna McDaniel, the chairwoman of the RNC, for losing since 2017, when it is Donald Trump's fault the Republicans have lost so significantly. And also Kristen Welker, the moderator of the debate, saying she is basically the face of fake news. And look, that does not win him any votes with women. They look at that and look at him as a frat boy and not a serious candidate for the president of the United States.
Yeah, he's making the mistake of thinking that as a young brown man, he can do exactly what Donald Trump did, but Donald Trump has the voters already in his pocket, and that's a challenge for everybody there. It was interesting to see Nikki Haley show up with stilettos to a knife fight, and I appreciated that because so many of us do have to run around in heels, but nobody on that stage actually spoke to people like me, women who are suburban and mothers, about staying out of our healthcare issues, staying out of our children and their choices in school and what they might be when they grow up. And that's, in their infighting, they're missing that deeply compelling message of values.
So I want to actually talk about that a little bit more about women and their healthcare rights and so forth, because the issue of abortion was looming large. In fact, it didn't come up, I think, until 90 minutes into the debate. But when it did come up, this is how the candidates responded. Let's listen to what Governor Ron DeSantis said in particular. He blamed the loss in Ohio.
All the stuff that's happened to the pro-life cause, they have been caught flat-footed on these referenda, and they have been losing the referenda.
So did any of you, and I'll let anyone jump in here, did any of you get a sense that any of them have figured out how to get ahead of this issue, how to address it? Of course, after we saw all those big Democratic gains with the momentum on abortion rights.
No, to me, it seems like they're still flailing on a consistent strategy as a party here. Overall, though, I don't think that the debate is really going to move the needle all that much. It is more consequential, the work that they're doing in these states. I had an Iowa pastor tell me he was previously supporting Vivek Ramaswamy. Now he's in Governor DeSantis's camp, due in part to the support from the governor of Iowa for DeSantis.
DeSantis didn't even talk about that last night, right?
Yeah,
surprisingly.
And that's probably more important than the theatrics last night.
Yeah. All right, ladies, thank you so much. Great discussion.